You are bleeding time, and you do not even know where the wound is. Right now, while you are listening to this, someone just like you lost another full day to something they will not even remember next month. Not because they are lazy, not because they do not care, but because no one ever taught them what truly drains a human life. Research on time use shows that the average person loses more than 13 years to unconscious habits and low-value activities. Not dramatic failures, not huge mistakes, just quiet leaks. The kind that make no sound. The kind you only notice when you are 40 or 50 or 60, and you look back and wonder where it all went. This is Stoicism Breath, and we are not here to give you surface advice. We are not going to tell you to wake up at 5 in the morning or drink more water. We are going deeper into the psychological traps, the social patterns, the inherited behaviors you never stop to question. Stoicism is not about suppressing emotions or pretending to be tough. It is about seeing clearly. It is about recognizing what is real and what is performance. Most of what we call life is reaction, automatic, borrowed. We copied it from people who were also reacting without thinking. Think about that. How much of your daily routine was consciously chosen by you? And how much was simply inherited? The way you measure success, the timeline you feel pressured to follow. Graduate by this age, married by that age, retire at a certain point, as if your life were a checklist someone else wrote. This video is a scalpel. Each principle is designed to cut away one layer of the life you did not choose. The version you have been performing because everyone around you is performing it too. Underneath all that is your actual life. The one that has been waiting for you to show up. Let us begin with the first truth. The power of time. Your relationship with time is broken, and it probably started before you could even speak. You were taught to measure life in years and milestones. But here is what nobody explains. Linear time is a construction. The way you experience an hour is not fixed. An hour in deep focus can feel like 15 minutes. An hour in a waiting room can feel like 3. Time is not consistent. Your engagement determines its texture. The Stoic insight is simple but powerful. Time is perception. And perception is something you can influence. When you are fully present, time expands. When you are fragmented thinking about yesterday while pretending to work today, time collapses. How many hours have you lost replaying an argument in your head? Or rehearsing a conversation that never actually happened? Or worrying about a future that never arrived? Not because something terrible occurred, but because you were never fully here. Most people treat time like weather. They say time flies as if they are just watching it pass. But you are not watching time. You are creating the experience of it. Every moment you are half present is a moment that leaves no trace. No memory forms. No meaning builds. It simply disappears. Think about your last vacation. You probably remember the details. The smell of the air. The taste of the food. The sound of the ocean or the city. Why? Because you were paying attention. New environment. Full presence. Now think about a random week from last month. It blurs. Because your brain does not archive autopilot. It discards it. That is why people wake up at 40 and feel like 30 happened yesterday. 20 years on autopilot leave almost nothing retrievable. The real power is not in managing your calendar. It is in managing your consciousness. Where is your mind right now? Is it here? Or is it replaying something you cannot change? Is it building futures that may never come? The practice is simple but uncomfortable. Catch yourself leaving. Notice when your attention drifts from what is in front of you. Do not judge it. Just notice. And then choose to return. Do this 50 times a day. 100 times. Every time you come back to the present moment, you are actually living. Everything else is just waiting. Start small. The next 5 minutes. Feel the chair beneath you. Notice your breathing. Listen to the sounds in the room. This is not poetic language. This is you showing up to your own existence. You cannot slow the clock, but you can make your moments dense, rich, real. That is how you stop bleeding time. And that is how you begin to reclaim your life. Close your eyes for a second and think about the last dinner you had. Can you actually remember it? The taste, the texture, the temperature? Or were you scrolling through your phone, answering emails, replaying conversations in your head while your fork moved on autopilot? You consumed calories, but you did not truly experience the meal. That moment is gone. Now multiply that by 3 meals a day for years. Thousands of experiences paid for with your time, but never fully lived. Time is not running out. You are just not inhabiting it. You are renting space in your own life without ever moving in. The real tragedy is not that life is short. It is that most people only experience a small fraction of the life they are given. Being present is not some luxury reserved for meditation retreats. It is the difference between actually living your life and watching it pass by from a distance. You cannot slow time down, but you can make it dense, rich, memorable. Neuroscience shows that the brain encodes memories more vividly when we pay focused attention. That is why vacations feel longer in hindsight. You are alert, engaged, fully there. But regular days blur because you are operating on autopilot, and the brain simply does not bother saving those files. So start small, not with a life overhaul, just with the next 5 minutes. Feel the chair beneath you. Notice the air on your skin. Listen carefully to the sounds in the room. This is not poetic advice. This is you showing up for your own existence. Every moment you are fully in is a moment you actually get to keep. Everything else disappears without a trace. This is Stoicism Breath, and this is how you stop bleeding time. Now let us talk about something even more concrete. Your health is not negotiable. Your body has been sending you messages, and you have learned to ignore them. The tightness in your lower back, the energy crash every afternoon, the sleep that never feels restorative. You have normalized feeling slightly unwell because everyone around you feels the same. But most people do not lose their health in one dramatic event. They lease it out slowly. They trade it for convenience, for approval, for another late night proving something to people who are not even paying attention. From a Stoic perspective, your body is not separate from your life. It is the vehicle of your life. Every dream, every relationship, every achievement happens through this physical form. Neglect it, and you are not just risking the future. You are shrinking your present. And today, the real thief of health is often not cigarettes or obvious junk food. It is chronic stress. It is shallow breathing with shoulders permanently tense. It is months without intentional movement. Research shows that chronic stress can accelerate cellular aging, weaken immunity, and shorten lifespan. Not because stress itself is evil, but because we trigger fight or flight and never complete the cycle. We stay in survival mode for weeks, months, even years. Your body keeps score. That deadline you push through on 4 hours of sleep. Your nervous system remembers. That argument you swallowed instead of resolving. Your body archived it. That rushed meal eaten while anxious. Your gut is still processing it. The tension headache is not random. It is feedback. The fatigue is not laziness. It is a request for recovery you keep denying. So here is a simple but powerful practice. 3 times a day, pause for a physical check-in. Scan your body. Where are you holding tension? How is your breathing? Shallow and high, or deep and steady? What does your energy truly feel like right now? Ask your body what it needs instead of telling it what it should tolerate. This is not weakness. This is wisdom. This is how you reclaim not just your time, but the quality of every moment you are given. Do not ask your body what you wish it felt like. Ask it what it actually feels like right now. No fixing. No judging. Just noticing. Because awareness is always the first step toward real change. Most people try to overhaul their health overnight. But the truth is simpler and more powerful. You cannot change what you refuse to see. Movement is not about looking a certain way. It is not about six-pack abs or impressing anyone at the gym. It is about keeping your biology functional. Your body was designed to move, to bend, to reach, to carry. When you stop using those capacities, you do not just lose fitness. You lose range of motion. You lose bone density. Your metabolism slows. Research shows that prolonged sitting increases the risk of cardiovascular disease and accelerates aging markers in the body. Not because time is cruel, but because stillness becomes your default. You do not age only because the years pass. You age because you stop moving. And then there is sleep. Real sleep. Not collapsing into bed from exhaustion with your phone in your hand. Deep intentional rest. During deep sleep, your brain literally cleans itself. Scientists have found that the brain flushes out waste products that build up during the day. Skip that process again and again, and you are not just tired. You are cognitively impaired. Your decision-making suffers. Your emotional control weakens. You become more reactive, more anxious, less patient. In other words, you become a smaller version of yourself. The cost of ignoring your health is not just some distant hospital bed in the future. It is today. It is every compromised day where you function at 60%. Every conversation dulled because you feel foggy. Every opportunity you cannot fully seize because your body does not have the energy to support your ambition. You cannot buy your health back later. You can only maintain what you have and rebuild what you have lost. So start now. Not next Monday. Not next month. Now. Make this commitment in your own mind. I honor my body. This is Stoicism Breath, and this is self-respect in action. Now let us talk about something just as critical. The people around you. There are individuals in your life who may be slowly erasing you. Not with obvious cruelty. Not with dramatic abuse. But with something more subtle. They need you to stay small so they can feel adequate. This is not about becoming cold or cutting everyone off. It is about recognizing relational energy drain. Some relationships give you energy. They challenge you. They support your growth. They see you clearly. Others deplete you. They require you to perform, to shrink, to manage their emotions while ignoring your own. The Stoic approach is clear and uncomfortable. Evaluate people by their effect on your character and your peace. Not by history. Not by obligation. Not by guilt. By impact. Does this person make you better or just busier? Do they celebrate your growth or subtly undermine it? Do they respect your boundaries or treat them like suggestions? Toxic relationships rarely announce themselves. They hide behind labels like family, old friend, colleague. You tolerate them because leaving feels dramatic or ungrateful. So you stay, and each interaction costs you something small but real. You may notice the signs if you are honest. You feel drained after spending time with them even when nothing obviously bad happened. You edit yourself in their presence. You dread their calls. You feel relief when plans are canceled. Some people drain you through constant crisis. Their life is always on fire, and you are expected to be the firefighter. Every conversation circles back to their chaos. Your goals, your needs quietly shrink to make room for theirs. Others drain you through judgment disguised as concern. They question your choices, your changes, your growth. Are you sure about that? That does not sound like you. Over time, you start doubting yourself. Your energy is your life force. Protecting it is not selfish. It is responsible. You cannot build a strong, peaceful life while constantly pouring yourself into environments that weaken you. Pay attention to how you feel around people. That feeling is data. And the moment you start honoring that data, you begin reclaiming not just your time and your health, but your identity. Sometimes control does not look like control. It sounds like I am just worried about you. It feels like care. But underneath that concern is a need to keep you predictable. Because your growth highlights their stagnation. When you change, you challenge the unspoken agreement to stay the same. And not everyone is comfortable with that. Then, there are the energy vampires. The people who consistently take but rarely give. They need your time, your attention, your emotional labor. You listen to their problems. You show up for their crises. But when you need support, they are suddenly busy. They minimize your struggles. They change the subject. The relationship flows in one direction, and you are always the source. Over time, that imbalance does not just exhaust you. It reshapes you. There is a neurological reason for this. You become the average of the people you spend the most time with, not in a mystical way, but in a biological one. Mirror neurons in your brain fire when you are around others. They sync your emotions, your behaviors, your thought patterns. Spend enough time with anxious people, and your nervous system begins to mirror anxiety. Spend time with critical people, and your inner voice grows harsher. This is not weakness. It is wiring. So the practice is simple but honest. Make a quiet inventory. Think about the people you interact with most. After spending time with this person, do I feel expanded or diminished? Energized or depleted? More like myself or less? The answers will not lie to you. Some relationships can be saved with boundaries. Clear, firm, non-negotiable boundaries. I cannot be your therapist. I need our conversations to be balanced. I am not available for last-minute emergencies. If they respect those limits, there is potential. If they respond with guilt, manipulation, or repeated violations, you also have your answer. Other relationships require distance, not drama. Fewer calls. Less availability. A polite but firm decline. You are not obligated to explain every decision. No is a complete sentence. Your peace does not need a courtroom defense. And then, there is the hardest truth. Some relationships need to end completely. Outgrowing people is not cruelty. It is evolution. You are allowed to prioritize your mental health over someone else's comfort. You are allowed to leave even if they are not terrible enough to justify it to the world. Every hour spent managing toxic dynamics is an hour stolen from building nourishing ones. From being around people who see you clearly, who celebrate your growth, who elevate you simply by being near. Your life is too short to keep shrinking for the sake of familiarity. This is Stoicism Breath, And this is what self-respect looks like in real time. Now we move to something equally important. Learn, evolve, adapt. Many people stop growing the moment they feel competent. Not officially, not consciously, but somewhere along the way curiosity gets replaced with certainty. You build a fortress of opinions and call it wisdom. You defend ideas you formed 5 years ago with information you have never updated. Stagnation is dangerous because it does not feel like decay. It feels like stability. You have your routines, your beliefs, your way of seeing the world. It works well enough. So why question it? Why risk the discomfort of being wrong? Because the world is not static and neither are you. The version of you from 3 years ago had different needs, different limits, different blind spots. If you are still operating from that outdated script, you are not living fully. You are replaying old programming. The Stoic principle here is intellectual humility. What you know is always incomplete. Research in cognitive science shows that the more confident we are in our opinions, the less likely we are to seek new information. Growth requires the courage to admit I might be wrong. It requires updating your beliefs the way you update your phone software, regularly, intentionally, without waiting for a crash. Ask yourself, when was the last time you changed your mind about something meaningful? When was the last time you learned a new skill that made you uncomfortable? Growth is not about chasing trends. It is about staying responsive to reality. A strong mind is not rigid. It is adaptive. If you want a resilient life, you must remain a student. Read widely. Listen to perspectives that challenge you. Surround yourself with people who stretch your thinking. Because the moment you decide you know enough is the moment you begin to slowly fall behind. And your potential deserves better than that. Your current understanding of the world is not truth. It is a draft. It is the best interpretation you can form with the information you have right now. And for many people, the draft stops being updated somewhere in their 30s. Not because they lose intelligence, but because they lose curiosity. They stop reading books that challenge them. They avoid conversations that contradict their views. They build a circle of people who think the same way and consume media that confirms what they already believe. The echo chamber feels comfortable. It feels stable. But it is not reality. The cost of this mental rigidity is massive. Life will change. That is guaranteed. The job market shifts. Technology evolves. Relationships transform. Health challenges appear. If you are using the same mental models you had 10 years ago, you are trying to navigate new terrain with an outdated map. And when that map fails, you blame the world instead of updating your perspective. Real learning is uncomfortable. It challenges assumptions you did not even know you were carrying. It exposes blind spots. It forces you to admit that you might have been wrong. And that process does not feel good. It feels destabilizing. That is why most people stop. They confuse consistency with stubbornness. They defend old positions not because they are true, but because they are familiar. Think about the last time you genuinely changed your mind about something important. Not a small preference. A deep belief. For many adults, it has been years. That is not strength. That is calcification. Growth requires deliberate exposure to difference. Read books that oppose your political views. Listen to voices from industries you do not understand. Talk to people who chose a different life path. Not to abandon your values, but to stress test them. To refine them. To discard what no longer serves you and integrate what does. Your brain is neuroplastic. It can form new neural connections throughout your entire life. But it needs stimulus. new challenges, new information. Without that stimulation, it does not just plateau, it declines. Cognitive decline is not only about aging, it is about mental retirement, about deciding you know enough. Adaptation is survival. Species that could not adapt disappeared. Businesses that fail to adapt collapse. And individuals who refuse to adapt do not get left behind by others. They get left behind by reality. The world keeps moving. You either move with it or become irrelevant to your own potential. Ask yourself one uncomfortable question. What belief am I afraid to examine? That is your edge. That is where your next level of growth lies. Your identity is not fragile. It is flexible. It can handle the truth. Learning is not about collecting credentials or impressing anyone. It is about staying mentally alive, about equipping yourself for whatever comes next. Because something will come next, and you will either meet it prepared or scrambling with outdated solutions. The moment you believe you have figured everything out is the moment you quietly begin to decline. Stay curious. Stay humble. Stay learning. This is Stoicism Breath, and this is intellectual strength in action. Now let us talk about something deeply practical. Financial wisdom. Every day you trade your life energy for money. Hours of focus, effort, stress. Then many people spend that money on things that drain even more life energy. The cycle is efficient and destructive at the same time. Financial stress does more than limit your options. Research shows that chronic financial anxiety reduces cognitive bandwidth. It narrows your thinking. It makes long-term planning harder. You become reactive instead of strategic. You make decisions from scarcity, and those decisions often keep you in scarcity. It becomes a loop. Money itself is not the problem. Your relationship with money is. And that relationship was shaped long before you understood it. By parents who had their own fears or habits. By a culture that equates spending with success. By an economy that encourages constant consumption. Earn. Spend. Earn. Spend. Stay on the treadmill. Never build true security. From a Stoic perspective, money is a tool, not a goal. It is not a measure of your worth. It is a resource that can buy freedom. Freedom to choose your time. Freedom to say no. Freedom to walk away from toxic environments. When you treat money as status, you become its servant. When you treat it as a tool, you become its master.